Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Troy with the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big ass results in your life and business. Today's topic is this: Daddy, I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So we were at Wisconsin. We were up in Wisconsin here a few days ago for what I'm gonna call my uncle-in-law, my father-in-law's brother who had passed away, and we were there for a funeral and all the events that take place around that celebration of life. And on Friday, after we had finished the burial that morning, we loaded up the kids, mine and my sister-in-law's and her kids, and we took off and we went to a place in Green Bay called Bay Beach. Now, Bay Beach it's a carnival, and it's actually a pretty darn clean carnival place. This place has been there for, I'm going to say hundreds and hundreds, but it's been, I'm going to say for hundreds of years, but I know it's been there for a really, really long time. And it's something where even my wife, like when she was a little girl, like she went there, and it's something that's just been around for a while. Not that I'm aging my wife, please. We are in confidentiality here. You will not tell her that I said that. And if you're listening, honey, I love you. But she went when she was a little girl. So the place has been around, I know, for a minimum of, 30 plus years. And so we go to this place and we pull up. There's this huge wooden roller coaster. It's called the Zippin' Pippin. And the girls, my nieces, want to go, but they're not tall enough to go on it. And now we have Wyatt, who's the oldest of them all. He's 8, and then there's Alice, who's 7, and there's Watson, who's 5, and then there's Cleo, who I believe is 5, or she'll be 5 this upcoming year. And so nobody really wants to go on it. The girls want to go on it. Wyatt doesn't really want to. And so we're just going to go ahead and take off and go to the next ride. The next ride are swings. Now, you know swings at a carnival. They go around in a circle. You sit in a swing. It's a lot of fun. Now, they had a small one for kids to kind of get their feet wet on what the big one would be like. Well, unfortunately, we're standing in line, and guess who doesn't get to go? Wyatt's too tall. He is too tall. He's really upset at this because he wants to be able to go with his cousins, and rightly so. I've never been to an amusement park where you were too tall, you couldn't go on, and he wasn't allowed to go on. But we found other rides that we went on, and through the course of the day, we finally got to the big swings, which he wanted to have nothing to do with. But his cousin was really sad because it's what she had waited for all day, and she wanted him to be on it, and it was the last ride of the day, and she's like, Wyatt, I want to go on this ride with you. It's our last ride of the day. I want to go on our ride together. And so we had a conversation, and he went ahead and hopped on and got in line and went on this ride with her. When he got off the ride, he came over to me, and I said, so thumbs up, thumbs down. He gave me a thumbs down. And I said, well, read this. And I had my shirt, my Commit and Go shirt on that said, be afraid, but do it anyway. And so as I stood there and had him read it, I put my arm around him and said, buddy, here's what you did, though. You were afraid, and you did it anyway. And now you know. Like, now you know. The next time we come here, if somebody says, hey, do you want to do the swings? You might just say, no, I realize I don't like them. But see, if you never tried, you would have never known. And so we went walking off to the next ride, and the group had chosen to go on. They wanted to take my youngest son, Walker. The kids wanted to take him on a ride that, guess what? Wyatt was too tall for. So I looked at him and I said, guess what, buddy? There is a ride here that no one else can go on but you. And he said, what's that? I said, you are the only one here who can go on the roller coaster. How about we go on the roller coaster? He got a big smile on his face. He was all excited. Then all of a sudden his mommy wanted to go. And then all of a sudden my sister-in-law wanted to go. So the 4 of us were walking over together to go on the Zippin' Pippin. And as I put my arm around him and I said, buddy, I'm so proud of you. Like riding those swings was so great because you just did it, right? You did it. You found out you don't like it. That's cool. But I'd rather have you give it a try than nothing at all. And he looked at me and said, well, Daddy, I got to tell you something. He said, I'm scared to go on this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, my heart sank, folks, if you can only imagine. I was so proud of him. I still am. I put my arm around him and said, buddy, I'm so proud of you because you never know, right? And I'm going to go on it with you. Mommy's going to go. We're going to have a great time, and we'll just see what happens, right? And so that's the point. Like, this is the point in life. And by the way, we went on the roller coaster. Man, this thing was bumpy. You're flying out of your seat the whole 9 yards. Then we got off, and I said, so what do you think? He goes, yeah, I don't want to do that again. I'm like, cool, we don't have to because at least you know. And you were afraid, but you did it anyway. And you're still standing. And you can even talk about it now because you're the only one of anyone here who has that experience. And this comes to you. It comes to me. We look at our own lives. Where is it that we're letting fear stop us from doing things that need to get done in our lives? Maybe it's a relationship, a spouse, a significant other, where you just need to sit down and have like real conversations. Colliding, if you've heard me ever before, maybe if this is your first time, I'll explain this. Collision creates clarity. And so sometimes we avoid having a conversation with people that we love because we don't want to collide with them. And we're afraid of what's going to happen. Can you be afraid but do what needs to be done anyway? You look at your business, and in business, sometimes you have to have conversations with clients, and sometimes staff and team issues come up. And so many times I see business owners, they avoid colliding with staff. They literally just avoid it because of fear of the confrontation, fear that they might quit. And it's such a horrible position to be in. But if you just be afraid, but have the conversation anyway, be afraid, but do what needs to be done anyway. And it's so pivotal when it comes to life. I mean, even looking at, like people in their health, and they don't want to go, get blood work done, and they don't want to go get testing done. It's why? Because they're afraid of what they might find out. But can you be afraid, but go do it anyway, so you can get the information that you need, so that if there is something going on, you can find a way to take care of yourself. And if there's not something going on, then hopefully it just brings to light like, whoo, that was a close scare. If I was scared about that, and I haven't been living right, then maybe I need to start living right, and I might be less scared about it down the road. Now, there's so many scenarios we can play here where people just continually in this world let fear stop them from doing what needs to be done. And so if you look at your life right now across body, being, balance, and business, where is it in your life that you've just been afraid? You've been afraid to have the conversation with your staff, been afraid to have the conversation with your child, been afraid to have the conversation with your spouse, been afraid to have a conversation with the trainer, been afraid to go get the testing done. Like, where in your life right now are you allowing these fears? Because these fears become distractions in your life. They literally become a distraction in your life, a roadblock from getting to where you want to go. But if you can collide, if you can have the conversation, all of a sudden you have clarity on the other side of the collision. There is always clarity on the other side of the collision. Always. And so if you can go collide, be afraid, do it anyway. Now I have clarity on the other side. I can also now create a solid action plan to move forward. You see, instead of being paralyzed, what it actually does for me is it gives me clarity. When it gives me clarity, I now can create action steps. And if I can follow those action steps, or I should say when I follow those action steps, I can now get a desired outcome. But as long as you sit in the world of fear, you know the acronym, I don't want to beat it to death. We've heard it a million years over. False evidence appearing real. As long as you sit in the world of fear, you'll never move forward. You'll always find a reason not to do something as opposed to a reason to do something. And once you've done it, at least you'll know. Like Wyatt going on the roller coaster. He was able to get off the roller coaster and tell me, yeah, man, I'm not really crazy about that roller coaster. But if he had never gone, he would have never known. He would have only lived by the story that's in his mind. What I'm hoping that you'll do today as a result of listening to this podcast is stop listening to the story that you've created in your mind. Stop listening to the story that you have created in your mind. Collide with yourself or with others to create clarity. Be afraid, but do what needs to get done anyway. That's all I've got for you here today, folks. Hey, as always, if you need anything from me, Dr. Troy, DrTroy at commitandgo.com. And make sure you head on over to commitandgo.com and just take a look at the site, see what it is that I have to offer as a coach, as a mentor, and also make sure you log in and get your free download of the Time Mastery Program. That's all I've got for you here today. This has been Commit and Go, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big-ass results in your life and business. We'll hear you next time. Bye-bye.